In this video, I would like to acknowledge some very delicate topics. My intention is not to offend or to generalize in any ways, but simply to offer my experience and point of view. This video is about the healing path, especially for those that have started a healing journey to become therapists, healers, coaches. One thing that I've noticed at the beginning of my trainings was that many people that were training with me to become therapists never received healing on themselves from a therapist for a prolonged period of time. And that to me was quite surprising because I thought, you are training to become a therapist, but you've never been on a journey for yourself. How can you provide a service when you don't know what it's like to receive that service on yourself? And I can see that there were a lot of expectations in receiving healing from the other participants. But on the other side, we had somebody that was just doing a training. He was just at the beginning of something and had no experience in how to handle situations that require deeper attention. Moving on to other trainings, I experienced the same pattern over and over. Why did I find that strange? Just receiving the healing in a course wasn't enough, and I definitely required somebody with experience to help me understand and integrate the experience better. I was going back home feeling that something was incomplete. I needed to be supported by somebody that knew how to support me. I thought that that was essential. Otherwise, I wasn't going to provide an authentic, also professional space for somebody else if I had no clue of how to deal with my inner conflicts, with my inner problems. The more I progressed in my journey, also becoming a therapist and starting to work as a therapist, I understood how much I needed support. And I can see that sometimes as therapists, we don't see it as an essential element of our well-being to receive healing, to recharge, and also to integrate and digest everything we also experience as therapists. Another thing that I've been reflecting on is about all the trainings or the advertising I often found on social media. They're offering quick training, miracles, quick fix without even checking on the students. How is it possible to become a therapist just learning online without working with anybody, without making the experience with other people? It's impossible. You don't know what you're putting yourself into. Just because sometimes we think that the gift or the intuition itself that we have is enough. Intuition without self-discipline is just a part of what is required to do this as a job. All of us have gifts. All of us have special talents in something, but it may not be enough if you have to support somebody with deep traumas. What tools do you actually have? And not just your intuition, but what tools are you going to use to support that process? The holistic field, part of it, isn't really regulated. I can see that one of the main issue is boundaries, professional boundaries in this field, because the approach is very much from a heart space. When we don't know anything about professional boundaries, we can really damage ourselves, our services, and also others, because we come from a place of clarity about what we're offering, what we're doing, and how we are going to tackle more practical part of the relationship itself. We don't know really what's going to happen. Understanding what the expectations are, what the outcome may be, self-boundaries, which is one of my main workshops, are essential for any practice that involve healing. Without understanding the importance of boundaries, self-boundaries and professional boundaries, I will definitely not suggest to start this type of work because of the nature of this work, and it's quite intricate and complicated. Another thing that I've been reflecting on is the tendency to move from one workshop to another workshop, from one therapist to another therapist, and fragmentating the self in all these experiences. You may not agree with me, but receiving healing all the time from different people, doing too many workshops without giving yourself the time to integrate these experiences is not healthy. It's not healthy because you are constantly working with your energy on a level that could detach you from reality without giving yourself the time to come back and integrate that into your physical reality. Consciousness, healing, high vibrations, and moving into the subtle dimensions. Of course, this is all part of the awareness journey, but something is missing here. Healing isn't just about aligning with the cosmic energy. Healing is about healing the emotional wounds, healing the parts of the self that have been through deep traumas, giving yourself the time to understand these parts, understand why you've been through these experiences, why they need transformations. And of course, if you've been through deep traumas, healing isn't going to happen in a day or a week. Healing needs to happen progressively to give you the time to make a real change. If we lose 20 kilos in a week, it's not healthy. And so it's the same with healing. If we change all that suddenly in a week, we won't have the time to understand this change. I will also say not to have specific expectations in mind, because this path has no beginning and has no end. This is a life journey that you may well go in and out when it's needed to explore parts of the self. It's not about fixing anything. It's about understanding the nature of certain disalignment, understanding the nature of certain traumas or experiences, and then understanding how you can move forward from these experiences. And I can see how some people that I've met through the spiritual journey have developed very high abilities, but they are also very detached from reality. There's a lack of groundedness. There's a lack of connection with the earth. There's a lack of connection with the body. All the work needs to be done through the body, because the body never lies, because the body can show us the way and can open the doors to higher levels, dimensions. But everything needs to happen through the body and not otherwise. Healing is something extremely sacred. And I feel a bit disappointed when I see that people are treating it as something superficial or something that doesn't require a certain attention. Healing is a deep, profound journey within the self. Very often I hear, oh, I've already done this. I have already looked into this part. I don't think I need to go through that anymore. I said, of course, you perhaps have looked into this, but on what level? The mental level, emotional level, spiritual level, from like, how have you tackled this issue? We may think that we have resolved something, but really what we have done is just to look at something intellectually. Before we are able to heal a deep trauma, we need to look at it from multi perspectives, not just the mental, but also the energetic dynamics of it, the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, which is the most important one. There are layers to healing that sometimes are not acknowledged in the healing process itself. And this is why we can't call something holistic if we have approached that only mentally or only spiritually. That is not holistic. And also understanding that this wounded part of the self may belong to an inner child that has been highly wounded and hasn't grown regarding certain dynamics. My invitation is just to look at your relationship, look at your reactions. If you think that something has been done or resolved, you can see that in your emotional responses. When the same issue rise up, you'll be able to handle it from an adult, more mature perspective, to come out from the wound itself and respond from a place of awareness. And that is very simple to see because it reflects everywhere around us. This humanity is a clear reflection of what we are experiencing internally. If we continue to move in the world without awareness, with parts of the self that are deeply wounded, with inner childs that still waiting to be recognized or loved or accepted or whatever they need, without doing nothing about it, we are going to be constantly fearful, anxious, upset at the world. And we are going to continue blaming others, society, illness, for what we are not capable to solve within ourselves. All of us has a responsibility to become conscious adults to take responsibility for our human spiritual growth. There's a lot of help out there. We just need to decide if we want to go, if we're ready to go through that journey, or if we want to remain stuck into a reality made of confusion, overwhelming emotions, daily stress, depression, you name it. This is my approach. So I do understand that people have different types of approaches. This is my experience. The intention of this video is to reflect whatever you are going through, some of these things, you've done some of these things, and to bring awareness in whatever is your path. If you are fragmentating yourself in 100 different spiritual practices and you are undecided how to move forward, if you feel there's a lack of consistency in your life, there's a lot of expectations, or there's a misunderstanding of what healing is, maybe reflect on where you're at this point of your life. What do you want to do with your life? What are your gifts? What is preventing you to make that change? How would your life be if you were in a different place, able to act and not to react to life? Everybody that chooses to heal gives the world an opportunity to change, to shift. And that falls on each of us. Today is the perfect day, so take that opportunity. And thanks for listening to this video. If you wish to support my work, please subscribe to my channel. And for now, I wish you a wonderful day.